Hello, dear friends, and welcome. My name is Brother Sean. Yes, I'm in fancy dress. No, I'm not. I'm basically wearing my uniform, which is the monastic habit of the Teo community of St. Francis. We are an interspiritual community at present online, but the vision that God has for us, God the Supreme, the Source, the I Am Presence, is to unite us, to come together as brothers and sisters from different faiths, not all Catholic, not all Jewish, not all Muslim, not all Hindu or Sikh, but an eclectic mix of representatives from each faith community to come together and embrace one another. So the title of this short YouTube is A Reflection on Spiritual Community. What is spiritual community? Well, the only example I can give you is based on years of experience, but in particular going back to when I was a young monk, a nursing monk in a Catholic order that dated back to the 14th century, whose mother house is in Germany, in Aachen, West Germany. And entering that community as a young 16-year-old from Dublin, being based on an island off the south east coast of Ireland in a place called Cove, County Cork. Idyllic, ideal for a monastic community because it was away from everything and everybody, or was it? But there was certainly peace there. But at times there was mayhem. Mayhem in the laundry when I got the starch recipe mixed up and added triple quantities of the starch, and the poor monks in the long johns, they couldn't get in them. It caused a furore, and the looks I got was horrendous. Is that community? Yes, of course it is. A community is like a family where you have mom and dad, brothers and sisters, grandparents, aunts, uncles, relations, and noisy neighbors, intruding neighbors. It's a human family made up of ordinary men and women who have got extraordinary talents. Some of the members may feel undervalued. I know, as I did growing up in Dublin as the eldest of 9, I never really felt good enough. So clearly I brought that baggage into the community, and it took a few years for that to be faced head on and dealt with. But a spiritual community is an extension of a normal family, where you have the figureheads, mom and dad, and they really set the rules, don't they? If they're approachable, loving, disciplined, compassionate and kind, then one doesn't really need to lay down rules and regulations, because the respect we have for such parenting skills is clearly obvious in how we live our life. But if you come from a family like mine, where it was dysfunctional on many levels, where my father, a beautiful man, but he was a career man and a womanizer, and terribly good looking, and the women loved him. My mum, well, she was like a breeding machine where she had one child after the other without any break or respite. But I guess that was part of the tradition. Or as he used to say, the hundredfold in Ireland was a son in religion, a daughter in the convent, and a pig in the parlour. But for my poor mom, it must have been horrendous. But a spiritual community is a community where men and women, having worked through their baggage, their agendas, they come together in love. But I can understand why in the Catholic Church there is an age stipulation on members joining. They prefer not to take members who are past 35 years of age. Unless, of course, they've had some psychological screening and community would be ideal for them and they're not set in their ways. But for those of us in the Teo community, Some of us are certainly past 40, and I'm 63, and of course set in my ways, but I'd like to think I'm approachable, but I am disciplined. And I guess that discipline has come from my family, from my upbringing, from my grandmother, who taught me values, never to lie or cheat or steal, and never to deceive another. Because she always said, always be kind to people on your way up the ladder of success, because there will come a time when there's a blip and you'll slip off that ladder, and that's when you'll need your friends. Never abuse your friends. Love them. Nurture them. Respect them. Is that what's happening in the world today? I think it takes a very special person to live in a community, because you need to be a good all-rounder, as they say. You need to have skin like leather and not allow yourself focus on the little things, because they can blow out of proportion, as I found in the monastic life. For example, in chapel, when we were there praying or meditating for an hour in the morning and evening, sometimes you'd get irritable and you'd hear a brother coughing and you think, oh God, I wish he'd shut up. Little things like that used to blow your brains away. But a spiritual community that's rooted in love, tolerance and respect is a community that will survive any crisis. And even if a member joins that community and they're on the surface well-meaning, joyful, happy, content, but they have an agenda, and the agenda is to control the members subtly, then that member will get found out. And although they might leave a travesty of events where many members have been hurt deeply on many levels, and it may take time to repair the damage, as I've witnessed myself in monastic life. But such a community that is strong, who pray together, who love one another unconditionally, and who are willing to support one another through the good and the bad times, the lean times, such a community becomes a force to reckon with, don't you think? Well, you know the old saying, blood is thicker than water. Well, when anyone starts attacking your family, what do? You close ranks. You don't allow loopholes for people to come in and tear your family apart and you condone it. No, 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 no. And it's the same with the spiritual community. If God appoints someone to join your community, whether they're a Muslim, a Hindu, a Sikh, whether they're gay or straight, disabled or able-bodied, we should be thankful. And we should reach out in the name of charity and embrace that person and accept them for who they are, and not try and control them, not to try and dictate to them our values, because that's ego. And my understanding of a spiritual community is where we learn from one another, particularly being into spiritual, because there's such a richness in every faith. The chants, the sacred writings and teachings, the spirituality around the lifestyle, the discipline. And when you pool all those wonderful gifts and ideals, you have one mighty community, don't you think? Well, the Teo vision is God's vision for his children. And though that vision was shared with my heart at Assisi in 2008, it's not my vision, it's our vision, where we will create a rainbow bridge of love where all faiths are welcome, where there is forgiveness, acceptance, tolerance, where there is laughter and tears, but where there's a celebration of love and life and joy, and where people can be human again and not be false prophets. So to be a part of a spiritual community is not to lose your gift, not to lose who you are and compromise your divinity for the sake of being accepted like I did as a young monk. It means to come to the table of love, divine love, offer yourself in your vulnerability and availability, and allow the Supreme, the Source, the I Am Presence. Use your gifts for the highest good of all. Thank you.